Rain hammered the coast long before dawn, turning the naval training compound into a swamp of churned earth and slick asphalt. The wind drove sheets of water sideways, stinging every exposed face. Recruits sprinted past the firing lanes in disciplined lines, their synchronized footsteps splashing through mud like thunder rolling across the deck of a battleship. The smell of wet metal, cordite, and soaked canvas clung to the air. Gunfire cracked at irregular intervals, a harsh percussion marking the morning rhythm. Captain Ellis paced beneath the corrugated roof of the shooting pavilion, clipboard tucked under one arm, jacket darkened by rain. His eyes darted between targets and trainees, assessing accuracy with cool exactness. A few paces away marched Colonel Grant, whose broad chest and rigid stature suggested a man carved from iron instead of raised by humans. His presence alone demanded excellence. His voice, always sharp enough to cut through storm winds, made sure no one forgot it. A lone figure waited near the gated entrance of the range. She couldn't have been older than 24, her olive green uniform plain and unadorned, a heavy duffel slung diagonally against her back. Instead of nerves, an unsettling calm rested in her eyes, like someone who already knew the ending of a story no one else had begun reading yet. Though she wore the uniform, she wasn't part of the program here. Not officially. Her name was Arya Vale. Grant noticed her and halted, irritation tightening every line in his face. He approached with slow steps that made puddles ripple around his boots. "You're the one who requested access to my shooting grounds," he said, his tone laced with mock amusement. His gaze swept her from boots to hairline. "This isn't a pit stop for hobbyists. Tour groups don't come through here." "I'm not a tourist, sir," she replied, calm and clear. "I'd like to test my marksmanship. I've been told this facility holds the most accurate sniper benchmarks recorded by Navy SEALs." He let out a short laugh, not kind in the slightest. "You think you can stroll in and take a shot at records set by operators who fought tooth and claw through hell? Men who earned every tenth of an inch while bullets chased them down." "I understand what I'm asking," she said, eyes never wavering. Ellis cleared his throat. "Sir, she has top-tier civilian tactical certification. Paperwork checks out. She's cleared to use the range." Grant exhaled through his nose, a dragon deciding whether to scorch or tolerate. "Fine, have at it. But when you fall apart out there, don't say you weren't warned." They guided her toward the distant firing line where visibility stretched into a fog-draped blur. Metal silhouettes seemed impossibly far, dancing faintly through the wind-warped air. Mud sucked at every step. Rain drummed on the overhang above them like restless drumsticks calling the challenge to begin. Grant folded thick arms over his chest. "Record here is 5-shot grouping at 2,000 meters. Lieutenant Drake, SEAL Team 6, spread tighter than 5 inches in a crosswind. You'll be lucky if you can even print the board." Arya let the duffel fall beside the bench. She unzipped it with deliberate care and withdrew a rifle that shimmered black under the storm clouds. Sleek lines, long barrel, craftsmanship that spoke of precision beyond standard issue. She positioned it gently, reverently, as though it were a cherished instrument. Ellis blinked. "That's a Victrix Armament Scorpio TGT, right?" "Modified," she replied, adjusting the bipod. "Triggers tuned to 1.1 pounds, barrel hand-lapped 6 times. Grant scoffed. "Tools don't turn amateurs into shooters." Her eyes stayed on the rifle. "Rank doesn't either." Silence fell sharp and immediate. The storm around them felt suddenly secondary to the pressure now hanging between words. Arya slid into firing position. The steel beneath her elbows was cold, but her breathing was warm and steady. She peered through the scope, world narrowing to a single distant steel plate. Nothing else mattered. Not the wind, not the stairs, not the doubt. Ellis called out over the weather. 2,000 meters. 5 rounds. Crosswind at 20 knots from the right. Her gloved fingers made micro-corrections on the optic dials. She inhaled, held, released. One shot burst free with a loud report. A heartbeat passed, ping right in the heart of the target. Ellis's mouth opened without words coming out. Grant's expression didn't shift, but his jaw clenched like granite. Second shot. Ping, almost touching the first. Third. Ping, fourth. Ping, fifth shot. She waited for the brief lull between gusts. Then, ping. Ellis sprinted toward the target, boots throwing mud behind him. When he came back, his voice cracked with disbelief. "Spread is 4.7 inches, sir." She beat it. Grant stared as though trying to force the universe to reverse itself. "Luck," he muttered. "That's all." Arya calmly reloaded. "We can extend the range, no smugness. Just certainty." They pushed the target to 2,500 meters. Rain came harder. Wind snarled savagely. SEAL trainees who pretended not to care drifted closer, eyes narrowing, whispering under breaths. Arya went fully prone in the muck. No bench, no comfort. Pure skill. First round hit low. She adjusted. The next 4 shots grouped into a cluster small enough to rattle the bones of anyone who understood ballistics. Ellis didn't even need a ruler. Nobody's ever... That shouldn't be... Grant walked toward her, voice softer but struggling against pride. Where'd you learn to shoot like that? She brushed rain from her eyelashes. My father trained me before his last deployment. He told me precision is a promise. Make the first shot the one that matters. He never came back, so I intend to carry that promise farther than he could. For a moment, even the storm seemed to listen. Grant gave the faintest nod, as if respect had been dragged out of him against his will. More SEALs gathered. Phones came out discreetly. Stories had to start somewhere, and this one was writing itself in real time. Grant lifted his chin. One more test. Moving target. 3,000 meters. Ellis looked alarmed. Sir, no one has ever... I know. Grant cut in. Let's see if she's myth or reality. The steel silhouette glided across the track at the far end, barely a speck through the mist. Wind tore savagely at everything. This distance wasn't designed for success. Arya settled once more, mud soaking deep into her sleeves and knees. She tracked the target like she could predict its next move before mechanics decided it. Her finger curled. Breath faded, shot fired, the weight stretched into eternity. Then, ping, dead center headshot. A collective gasp rolled through every witness. Someone swore. Someone else dropped their phone. Grant stepped forward slowly, disbelief eroded into awe. Rain streaked across his weathered face. Vale, he said, his voice gravel softening. You just shattered every sniper record this range has. And you did it in an afternoon. She rose, slung her rifle, eyes quiet as ever. So, does that mean I can come back and practice sometime? Grant allowed himself a hint of a smile, small but real. You'll do more than practice. We'll call when we need an angel behind a trigger. She walked away as quietly as she arrived. Ellis leaned closer to his commanding officer. Sir, did we just watch history being made? Grant didn't look away from her silhouette shrinking into the rain. No, he said. We just saw who's going to make it. The storm continued its assault on the shore. But for everyone standing on that range, the world felt suddenly bright, because they knew a legend had been born right in front of them.